You know, all across the newspapers in America, on the front page of every one, there are reports of conflict and battles that are happening in every country to every possible degree. We know metaphysically that what we see in the outside world is a direct reflection of what is going on in our inside world. So, the news is, all of those things are a reflection of a battle that is happening in each one of us. And what's really interesting about this battle is that most of us are completely unaware of it. The battle is about our programming that we have for the past. That battle is a battle that is occurring between our subconscious and conscious minds, and the decision that our soul is constantly trying to make to live in this moment. And we are programmed for the past. Now, it's not a bad thing necessarily that our subconscious really wants to stay in the past. It's how we know who we are. We have memories of where we were born and what our name is and where we came from, and all that's good, and those are things that are connected in the past. That programming in the past helps us to remember things that we do automatically, so that ultimately we're able to, like, drive a car, play the piano, use a typewriter, because we remember from the past how we learned to do that. If we don't have that memory, we don't know. This last week we were in Detroit. Mindy and Nancy rented a car, one of these new fancy electric kind of cars. Mindy calls me up early in the morning. She goes, "Scott, I'm in the car and I don't know how to start it." Because most of us, we put the key in and we turn the sucker, right? Well, this is electric. I said, "Well, is there a button to push?" "Yes, and I pushed it, but it doesn't work." I said, "Well, trust me, I've had an electric car." My subconscious remembers exactly how to start them. You have to step on the brake, push the button, be sure it's in park, and, and touch the top of your head, and it'll work. So I told her to do all those things, and she did them, and it worked. So now she knows, and she will remember. You see, there's value in that remembering. Our subconscious takes all these experiences and it continues to project them into the future for us. Not necessarily a bad thing. However, that's how we spend the great majority of our life, living from the past experiences that are projected into the future. Our brain has within it 50,000 random thoughts a day, and most of them are not even in this moment. They're about the what ifs, about the things that may happen in the future. So what I'm talking about today is that internal battle that we're not even aware of, where we're constantly struggling to be in this moment, and yet we've got all these things in the back that are constantly telling us to move forward from the back. When I was a child, about 3 years old, I was hanging on a basement. We lived in Virginia, and we had these pipes, the plumbing was along the wall. It was a concrete floor basement, and I was hanging on one of them, swinging back and forth. About 3 years old. My father and my older brother were having an argument. They'd been playing ping pong, and my dad was yelling at my older brother. And that was like, "Ooh, that's interesting." I was 3 years old. While I was watching this thing, just swinging around like this, a spider was crawling down the pipe from the rafters under the house. And when I looked back at the pipe and saw it, I was startled and I let go. I fell back and I cracked my head on the concrete, which explains a lot, by the way. I just realized, oh my God, I've admitted to it. And I was kind of knocked unconscious. And I remember later my mother saying, while I was carried upstairs to her, that gosh darn spider could have killed him. Not the spider, but the fact that I fell and cracked my head. Well, when I woke up, my subconscious took all of that history, and it told me some things that weren't true. Number one, spiders were death. And you know what the second one was? Arguments can kill you. So for the next decade and a half, I had two very serious phobias. Anybody ever had a phobia? You don't have to raise your hand unless you have a phobia about it, and it's a good way to break through. But if you haven't had a phobia, if you know what these things are like, it's this incredible, inordinate fear that has no basis whatsoever. When I was a child, I would see a spider anywhere within the 15 feet, and I would be absolutely paralyzed with fear, not understanding why, other than knowing they were death incarnate. And then the other thing was, anybody could raise their voice to me and I would become an immediate puddle on the floor and do whatever. I could not handle any kind of conflict whatsoever. After a decade and a half, I made a decision that I was no longer going to live that way. And in that decision, then I went through different kinds of therapy, desensitization and some other things, where actually I got to where I could hold spiders. And now when I find one, I catch them. I actually take them and let them out of the house. I don't necessarily destroy them with 8,000 pounds of chemicals and hammers and drills and electrical shock. I don't have to do all that anymore. It's altogether different. And then I became a psychiatric nurse, and I got real used to people yelling at me all the time and got over that. So God has this way. But the point is that the past experience I had was dictating my present experience. It was dictating everything that was happening. And what I want to encourage you today is that we need to make peace with those past experiences. We need to put them to rest so that we can be in this present moment. And we're going to talk about how important that is. This is from Brian Visendance, and he says, if we don't create our future, our past will make it for us. So this is a subject we need to pay attention to today, because we are called as spiritual beings to create a better world. And don't you want to create a better world for yourself? If we want a better world for ourselves, then we're going to have to make peace with the past, put it to rest, so that we can create fresh and anew from the guidance that we have. Confucius said, study the past if you would define the future. So it's important for us to look at it and to know what it is. We have the power to do that. We have the power by virtue of the presence of God within us, by the presence of that divine power, by who we are. We have that ability to do it. So the question is, this is from Sue Sicking, who said, the great power within us is the creator and the creation, the giver and the gift, the dwelling and the dweller. Never relinquish this vision, for this is our purpose of vision. Never, ever say, I do not have the power, because you do. And that is the truth. So, this is our greatest of all those powers. The way it manifests for us is as choice. We have a choice, and the choice that we have is to live in that power, to forgive, to release negativity, and to live in this moment. Living in this moment is the most important thing we can do. And do you know why? Because the only good we can ever experience in life is in this moment. It's not in the past. It's not in the future. It's right now. Living in this moment is all there is. For example, anybody know what this is? It's an apple banana. For those of you that are listening on the television, this is radio. This is an apple banana. This is great. I got this one in Chinatown. It's a little brown, but don't worry, because it was in the refrigerator. It's still perfect. You've had apple bananas before? If you haven't had apple bananas before, if you're just visiting in the islands, these are the ones you want. They may look little scrawny, puny things, but the taste of an apple banana surpasses a Chiquita any moment of any day. These are both tart and sweet, and their flesh is smooth. They're beautiful. I've had these ever since I came to you. Y'all have had them? It's really fantastic, right? This one was purchased in Chinatown. If you can just stop on the side of the road and get it, and we usually buy them by the whole bunches. Isn't that great? Now I have this banana, and I like talking about it. I like talking about how many I've had and where I got it, and that's lovely. But am I enjoying this banana? Not really. But I'm talking all about it. I can tell you where I got it, tell you how many I had. That's lovely. I can tell you all things. Now I can tell you all the things I'm going to do with this banana. I can make cookies, I can make cakes. I like to put it on top of Greek yogurt, and you can put it on top. Oh my God, the other day I made this French toast with a fruit bread and then put bananas on it. It was fantastic. I'm looking forward to doing that again. Am I enjoying this banana yet? No, I'm not. But I can talk about what I'm going to do with this banana. I'm going to go down and buy some more too this coming week. Isn't that lovely? But am I enjoying this banana yet? No. And you probably say, eat the banana. No, wait, I want to talk about it. I want to talk about the banana tomorrow. I want to tell you all about how many bananas I had. Wouldn't you get tired of a person who lived like that? That would be us. There's only one way to really enjoy this banana. Now, I apologize for being rude, but I have to do it if I want to make the point. If you really want to enjoy the moment, you have to eat the banana. I'm going to save the rest. What if you don't like bananas? The point is, If we don't do it now, we will never experience the goodness of that moment. Do you understand? So talking about it in the future. This is why living in the now is the only time we can really experience goodness. So how do we create peace with the past? Number one, zero, actually. I put it for zero because it's like the foundational truth, is breathe. Do that. Everybody take a big deep breath together. Because I'm talking really fast because there's a lot of things to cover. Let's do it again. Are you aware of what Burning Man is? In Nevada, every year, there's 50,000 to 100,000 men get together, and they have a week of kind of debauchery and spiritual enlightenment all mixed together. It's a rather interesting experience. I'm told. I've never really been. I have seen pictures. Anyway, there was at one of them, there was a phone booth out in the middle of a desert. There's this phone booth, and it said, "Talk to God." And so this guy came up to the phone booth and he picked up the phone, and then there was this beautiful kind of a breathy voice going, "Hello." And the guy says, "Is this God?" "Yes." "I have a question for you." "What is the question?" "The question is, how can I live in this moment? How can I enjoy life right now?" And you know what the voice said? "Breathe." And the man said, No, I'm already breathing, but I want to know how I can really enjoy this moment. And the voice said, "Trust me, breathe." We really don't think much about the breath. We don't think about breathing in this moment. And it is the one thing that can bring us right here, focusing our mind on this place in time. Breathe before we eat the banana. It will be an amazing experience. So that's breathe. Number one, set an intention, because your mind and your desire is so important. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, said, "It is the law of love that we have whatsoever we desire." Can you believe that? It is a law in the universe that says whatever we really hold in our desire, we will get. So I want you to hold a desire that says, I'm going to make peace with the past. I'm going to be here in this moment. I'm going to create a new world that I want to create. Number two, decide not to give your power away. You see, for a decade and a half, I lived in complete fear of spiders and arguments. Finally, I decided I am not going to live that way anymore. I wasn't going to give my power away to spiders. I wasn't going to give my power away to people who were loud and mean. So what? I know that each one of us has experienced painful and awful things in our life. At some point, people have said bad things to us. Maybe in second grade, someone told you you can't sing. And those are spiritual crimes against your soul. But I'll tell you a crime that's even worse than that. And the worst crime is that we keep telling ourselves it's true. We keep repeating in our mind those awful experiences that happened in the past. We bring them again, and that is the crime that we are committing. So we can't give our power to those things anymore. We give it to them and they make us feel awful, and that is our decision. Remember the power of choice. We decide, I am not doing that anymore. Those people may have done awful things to me. That may have been a bad experience. It may have hurt me to my core, and I am not giving it that power anymore because the power is here. Three, this is from Jesus, when Jesus said, I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatsoever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. In other words, Jesus is saying, you're in charge. You're in charge. The choice is yours. Wow. Do you realize how powerful that is? Do you realize how powerful you are? Number three, decide to release your feelings. Now, this is a tough one. I did a workshop with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross in 1987, and she said, when you bury your feelings, you bury them alive. And if you know that, they come back in strange and quirky places, doing odd things to the relationships of our life forever. So we have to uncover those. We have to find ways to release them. And there are all kinds of fantastic things to do it. What's important to remember is that we are not alone in that process. David says in the book of Psalms, God is close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirits are crushed. So we need to go ahead and feel the broken heart. We need to go ahead and experience those things so that we can express them and know that God is always with us. We are never alone. It is a safe thing to do. Our feelings will not kill us. Decide to forgive. Forgiveness is not for those people, it's for us. Because there are huge gifts that come to us in release from the past through forgiveness. The greatest discussion of forgiveness, I think, is found in a profoundly spiritual book called The Course in Miracles. Some of you are familiar with it. I want to read you an amazing set of promises that will come to you when you practice forgiveness. It's just from the workbook. What could you want that forgiveness would not give? Do you want peace? Forgiveness offers it. Do you want happiness? A quiet mind, a certainty of purpose, a sense of worth and beauty that transcends the world? Do you want care and safety and the warmth that sure protection offers? Do you want a quietness that cannot be disturbed, a gentleness that can never be hurt, a deep and abiding comfort, and a rest so perfect that it can never be upset? All this forgiveness offers you, and more. Who in our right mind would deny such a gift to ourselves? And the last one is pay attention. Because we may win a battle, but it's a long war, and we have to pay attention to this struggle. We can't just say, okay, good, I'm going to live in the present, and then forget about it, because the subconscious doesn't forget. It keeps remembering. So this is about vigilance. This is about deliberately paying attention to our life and what we're going to create. And then, of course, at the end, guess what? We breathe again. I want you to do it with me, because I've been talking really fast for a long time. Let's do it together. Let's do another one, because that was really good. Now one more, all together. You see, that brings us here. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes with me for just a moment. This being here now is where God is. And I'm going to invite you in this time of quiet to make that connection. Make that connection so you can make that amazing commitment to live from this moment, not from the past. To be aware, to forgive, to breathe. We are always reminded of this by that amazing spirit of love that's in us. So in these quiet moments, I invite you to feel that love now. To taste, as it were, the banana of spirit that is offered to you in this moment. Don't say, I'm going to meditate later, I'll pray later. Right now is when we get to experience that divine presence. As we come to God together in the sacred and holy silence.